Thanks, I like racing 23 for your question. You asked me, do you find training to be genuinely enjoyable? Is it something that I just do, myself as the career has progressed? But I've always loved sports, all kinds of sports, and always loved trying different sports. For sure, we do lots of training, for to be fit to drive F1 car and to be performing at your best level. But for me, also sport is way of lifestyle, and I'm sure even without F1, I'll be doing training. Obviously, now I do training because I have a goal, but I just love it, and it's been really a big part of my career always, and for sure always will. So it's not pain in the ass, although some sessions they do hurt. That's a fact, but I don't mind. Deck Racer is asking, do you think that F1 will also eventually go to the Kymi ring, which is in Finland, like 1 hour north of Helsinki? And have you ever driven on it? If so, what's your first impression? During the lockdown period, I had a chance to go to the track, do some laps on my own, and it's a really nice track. They've done a great job with it. Obviously, MotoGP was going to be there this year. That was cancelled. Pretty understandable. But in the future, I really hope that we could race there. I think they're still missing kind of some buildings to make it F1, approved. But never say never. It's a great track with a good flow and really technical actually, and just a bit of everything. Up and down, slow and high-speed corners, and pretty big straight as well. So they've done a great job with it, and hopefully one day can be racing there. Young Eldorado is asking, what impact did Finnish Formula 1 drivers like Mika, Kimi and Keke have on your career growing up, as rallying, motocross appear to be more popular motorsports in Finland? Well, for me, all the Finnish F1 drivers, they really motivated me to get to Formula 1. But I think it was Mika Häkkinen definitely for me that triggered that I want to be a Formula 1 driver. But of course, thanks to Keke before him, he opened the road for Finns into Formula 1. So there's been lots of good drivers from Finland, and they've all done pretty good. So I'm really pleased to carry that. But don't forget rallying. I might do more of it in the future, who knows. Headphone Silence is asking, what has been a small incremental gain improvement that you've made that's made a huge positive impact? What small improvement would you recommend that we mere mortals make to improve our day-to-day lives? For me, the main thing has been that always have a goal. If you're just doing random things, if you're spreading your energy into different kind of places, it's quite difficult to improve in one certain thing that you really want. So if you want to improve on something, make clear goals, realistic goals that you can get to, and you can always dream big, but it is really step by step, and focus your energy on things that you like to do and love to do, and normally those things you will be pretty good in those things when it really comes from pure passion rather than the need of doing it. So just find something that you really want to do and take it step by step with clear goals. That's my simple advice. Aviator Lover, my favorite part of your podiums is watching you take a big drink of champagne while everyone else is running and spraying theirs. Why do you choose to do this instead of spraying it over everyone like the rest? I always thought champagne is just such a fine drink to be wasted. So at least have one zip before it gets sprayed and it goes flat. So it's a fine, great drink that I enjoy, and I always have a drink before spraying it. So simple. But I'm glad if it makes you happy seeing that. Rosie Lewis, is there any backstory behind your number 77? To be honest, not really. It's pretty simple. I like 7, so I thought 77 would be good. And actually 7 was already taken by Kimi. So then I just thought 7 would be good, so go for it. Real the Senate is asking, how do you like your coffee? With, without milk, how much sugar? My favorite coffee is flat white. I have proper espresso machine at home, so homemade flat white is good, and with beans, coffee beans roasted in my hometown. That's the best one. That's the favorite. Aldoa is asking, who would win in a staring contest between you and Kimi? I don't know. I think it would be a long game. Maybe we should try. Too Sweet is asking, hi Valtteri, I've seen you making pizza a few times on your Insta stories. What are your favorite pizza toppings? That is true. I've been learning how to make pizza this year and finally got this wood-fired pizza oven this year and been playing with it, and pizzas are getting pretty good. And my favorite toppings, they are, it's like a truffle paste, so not a tomato base, it's a truffle, some onions, either red or white onions, some good herbs, a bit of chili, not too much though. I think that's about it. So that truffle mushroom pizza, tried. Steph Kerr 3914 is asking, hi Valtteri, when you race in the wet, how poor does the visibility get? Have you ever been in a race where you had no visibility at one point? It does get pretty bad. You can imagine driving your car without wipers and with a spray. Yeah, sometimes the visibility is not very long distance, so it can be pretty uncomfortable, and then you start to take references elsewhere on the track for your braking points, etc. And I remember this one crazy race in Brazil a few years ago that the visibility was next to none in places, and actually on the main straight, even in the wet, we go I think 300 or more kilometers per hour, and apparently at one point Kimi had spun and he was stopped there on the main straight, and I never saw him. I just saw that after the race on some footage or something, so that's how bad it was. So it can get pretty dangerous. How about, how much do you have to understand car and suspension mechanics as a driver to set up your car and drive it fast? You don't really have to understand all of that if you don't want, but I kind of like to. And I always feel that if you have an idea how everything works, and when you do those adjustments with the engineers, then you actually know physically also what it does to the car and how it and why it is going to change potentially the balance of the car. So I think it's always a help to understand, and I actually studied to be a car mechanic, so that shows that I have a bit of interest to the technical side of things. The well-fed beggar. Do you enjoy driving on normal roads? Do you feel safer or more at risk on the track or driving in regular traffic? I feel actually safer on track. At least there's no other people normally coming to opposite direction. And on road, obviously, yes, because there's lots of other people involved, and you just never know what happens in traffic with other cars. You have to be super aware, and there's more risks, I would say, on normal roads on average than at the racetracks. That's how I just feel, and I think I'm pretty good driving a normal car. For me, it's completely different thing to racing and racing cars. So it's two separate things, and so please drive safe. Marking Man is asking, what is your favorite track in the world, F1 or otherwise, and have you tweaked your porridge recipe from 2020? And I haven't really tweaked the porridge recipe. I still do proper power porridge, and it's been always varying a bit. Sometimes it's been even porridge pancakes, so pancakes with oats in them. So it's been always flexible. Always trying to find more gains through that. And what is my favorite track in the world is Suzuka, and has been since first time I went there with F1. It is the best. Have a look at some onboards from Suzuka and you will understand why. Yesterday, Z-Man is asking, have you and other drivers become fully comfortable with the Halo system given time that's passed? Yes, fully comfortable. You just get used to it, and it's definitely a good thing for safety. Again, you know, there was this crash with Giovinazzi and Russell in Spa, and that showed, you know, the bouncing tire could have hit his head potentially and was basically saved by the Halo. So it is a very good device and not really distracting anymore. Respectively, 288 is asking, Was there a moment or series of decision as a junior driver you feel was a turning point in your professional development? I remember in go-karting, it was 2003 to 2004, there was like a switch in me when I really, or 2002, around 2003, that I started to put more effort and really made a decision to put all the energy into this sport, and that seemed to pay off. Then pretty quickly after that I started to get those results, and it was just fully on focusing my energy on one thing, which was racing only, and really believing that it can become something if I give all I have for the sport. So I would say during karting times there was this 1 year when I guess I realized that there could be a chance, and I went for it. Milhouse IL is asking, ignoring your team you're racing for, which driver on the grid do you enjoy racing against the most? I like racing with every driver, because every driver is different. Some drivers more predictable, some unpredictable, but generally the guys who've been in the sport for a long time, they have the experience, and they normally race really, for sure hard, but also fair, and you just kind of know what people are doing. And I can't say one, it's every driver is so different, and of course one driver can race nicely with you one day and next day could be different. So People Temple Survivor is asking, what piece of Mercedes tech are you most impressed with? Most impressed this year I have to say the dash. It's so smart, super innovative. But overall, I would say the amount of setup tools we have in the car, how much we can adjust the balance of the corner by corner mechanically is pretty smart. So I would say the whole complex suspension that we have. Free Velus is asking, is managing tires of an F1 car an exact science, or is it instinctive at all? For sure it's based on science. We analyze that a lot, and as a driver you also always want to think about things, what is the best in theory and in science, but then it also becomes to the driver feel, where you feel it is the most efficient. So you try to combine your feeling and the science behind it. So, but definitely science and the data and everything is giving a good guidance what to do the best, but in the end it is up to you to do it. And of course, depending track conditions, it's always going to change, and that's something that data sometimes can't show when things start to feel different in the car. Shannon Milligan asking, what did you get up to in lockdown to pass the time? Good question. Actually, the time went pretty quickly. For every week, there was always a program for training, for food. I even had all the weekdays, it was always different food theme, different countries, and because I obviously was cooking always and with my girlfriend, so there was just this not really like a routine, but always a plan for every week. And I think the training, it really kept me busy. It was nice to have a solid, at least 2-month training block and really find those gains and performance gains physically. So I really enjoyed it, and then top of that the food. So it was pretty much training, eating, sleeping and repeating that. So went quickly. Artificial Neuron is asking, did you get reprimanded for your famous "to whom it may concern" quote? No, I didn't. Never had a reprimand for that, and I don't feel like I should. Thanks everyone for all the questions, some good ones there, but yeah, really thanks for taking your time writing those.